Transportation Commission meeting this day, Tuesday, February 4th, 2020 at 3 p.m. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please take roll.
Commissioner Gittman, absent. Commissioner Fallman, absent. Commissioner Hemmingson?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Present.
Commissioner Inscore?
Here.
Commissioner Keim? Here. And Policy Advisory Member Kevin Tucker? Here.
Okay. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to move to public comment. Anyone wishing to make public comment regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction may do so at this time. Seeing that there's no public comment, we'll move to election of the chairperson and vice chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate you for chairperson.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other nominations at this time? Okay, seeing none, please poll the vote.
Commissioner Keim?
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore?
Yes.
Commissioner Hemmingson?
Yes.
Policy Advisory Member Kevin Tucker? You don't vote on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Commissioner Howard?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'd also like to take nominations for vice chair. It would be somebody from the city.
I'd nominate,
I'm only
Commissioner.
here a few more months.
well,
You should nominate him.
okay, I'll nominate Blake.
Tried.
We have a nomination on the floor for Blake Inscore. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board to nominate Blake Inscore as vice chairperson. Please
Okay.
poll.
Commissioner Keim?
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore?
Yes.
Commissioner Hemmingson?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and move on with item number 5. Appoint 2 members to serve on the Finance Committee, one from the city and one from the county. Do we have any nominations?
I'm already there. This is just appointments. We have to go through this whole process, or is this something that the chair is just going to?
The chair should just appoint.
Okay, I'm gonna, do you mind doing that one?
I'm only here, so. No.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and
Thank you.
appoint Blake and Jerry to the Finance Committee.
And following up on that, CBH will be in touch about documents that, Blake, you may need to sign.
Okay. So at this point in time, we're gonna adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee and take up the consent agenda. We have items A, B, C, D on the consent agenda.
E and F. No, wait. Oh, no, that's under the different deal.
What's
Oh,
that?
interesting. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so we have items A, B, C, and D under the consent agenda. Let's go open up for public comment.
Move for approval.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. No public comment. Bring it back to the board for a decision on the consent agenda. Please pull the vote.
Commissioner Hemmingson?
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Policy Advisory Member Kevin Tucker?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Yes.
I
Okay.
think we missed, did you want me to vote on that?
Ms.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said Commissioner Keim.
You had me
Yes.
twice. That's okay. That's good. I was gonna vote twice anyway.
That's all right.
All right. Let's go ahead with the policy and administrative items. Item number E, 2020-2021 overall work program. Tamara?
On the 2020-2021 overall work program, this is generally I review all the details of the work program before I move forward and develop the entire document. The TAC and I have had several conversations about what to include, not to include in the work program. And I'd like to just go over it every year, answer any questions about next year's work that anybody has. The work program is developed and initiated by me. I send an email out to all the TAC members saying, hey, what do you need? What do you need from transportation planning for the 2021 work program year? And they let me know what they need. And this year there were actually very few responses. We still have a lot of work to do, but I was surprised that, there wasn't a clamoring for transportation planning work. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes we have more work than we can do, and sometimes we're going, gosh, what is the best thing to do with these funds at this time? So this year, I would say, was kind of an in-between year in terms of calls for work versus what we could fund. So the next step in the process, I review the work program with my commission. I get consent to move forward with it. I develop the entire document. It ends up being about 32 pages. And I submit it to Caltrans for review. I get comments from Caltrans. I respond to the comments. I bring the revised work program to the TAC, including the Caltrans comments, how I responded to those comments. The TAC makes a recommendation for adoption to the commission, and the commission adopts the work program. I'm expecting that we'll probably adopt the work program in our April meeting, given that we meet very, very early in the month, or even the May meeting, given that we meet, again, the first week of the month. We have to have it adopted before June 30th to begin our next year. Caltrans really likes for us to have it done much sooner than that. They get all their systems in place. But it's a brief overview of the process. So if you look at the spreadsheet that's here, we have the long-range planning and coordination. That work element includes our data book from CSU Chico, our last chance grade work, and then just overall coordination for long-range planning for transportation. It would include, the meetings, for example, that Crescent City Downtown ADA project meetings. One of the things that, when things come up, we need comments on it. It's a lot of work that comes in lots of different pieces in work element A. This work hasn't changed in several years. So it's pretty constant. Developing and delivering the overall work program. This includes the development, the amendments, the time it takes to do that, the accounting for the overall work program, the quarterly reports, the reviewing the monthly information with CBH as it relates to the RPA funding, the year-end reporting that we do, just all of that RPA work program development and reporting. Public participation and information dissemination. This includes our public meetings, all of our public meetings, the TAC meetings, the commission meetings, the CTC meeting that we have, the public meetings that we hold in our region. It includes our website development, our crowdsourcing, the Facebook, all of that area of public information and dissemination. It also includes the partnerships and sustaining the partnerships that we have. That includes the partnerships with our regional partners, like the city, county. We form a partnership for something, but it also includes the North State Super Region and the Rural Counties Task Force meetings. The next item, the RTIP development. The RTIP development is about our RTIP programs, the STIP funds, and it monitors the STIP funds. So the work in the RTIP development includes that RTIP development, but also monitoring STIP-funded projects over time. So right now, that's our 199 project and the time that it needs to take care of the 199 project moving forward. Also answering questions about the STIP, attending STIP meetings, making comments on behalf of rural counties regarding STIP funds and how they're allocated, just all of those STIP fund associated activities. The TDA administration, this includes general TDA administration, all the collaboration that I do with transit in general. It also includes our audits, the entire audit process, and it includes the Social Services Transportation Advisory Council meetings. The SAFE is our call box system. The 2020 Regional Transportation Plan is the 2020 Regional Transportation Plan is a carryover from the current year, and that's to update our 2016 Regional Transportation Plan. It's really at the core of our work. So this work element carries forward from the current year into next year. We actually are just now starting. In a couple weeks, we'll have a kickoff meeting for this work. We'll be doing a lot of work this half of the current year until June 30th. Then this is the remaining work carrying over into next year for an adoption in 2020 for the Regional Transportation Plan. Transit planning, the transit planning work submitted is to put together a community plan for our transit hub and where to locate our transit hub. So that's this year's transit planning is going to be focused on how to provide a transit hub for our communities and also for our bus drivers. You know, right now they're located in front of the cultural center in that area, but there isn't a place for the transit bus drivers to use a restroom. They can't buy and sell tickets there. We've had some ideas tossed about. There are lots of different things. I think we really need to take a good hard look at that. Lake County did a similar plan a few years ago. It's been very successful for them. We've taken a look at their scope of work and worked a little bit collaboratively with Lisa Davy Bates on pulling that together about what is our anticipated outcome, what are the costs for this. And then regional mapping. Regional mapping is the work element where we're going to add funding. And the regional mapping, this is when we have carryover. We'll have carryover at the end of the year. And generally, before the end of the year, I designate an area where this isn't fully funded. I'm acknowledging right now the regional mapping area isn't fully funding. When we know what our carryover is, we'll add it to the regional mapping. This will help, at least initially, the county and perhaps the city, if they need it, develop the road mileage maps that they're required to submit to Caltrans. And it provides it to them all in their mapping software. But we're taking a look at this, and I have this long list from the Rosanna and with the city's input about all of the mapping layers that would be beneficial for the county to have. So once you get those layers in, you can pull them up and have more information about a project area without having to start from scratch every time. So I think that we're going to have regional mapping on our work program for some time. Maybe there will be years where we don't pick it up, but we'll pick it up again and add layers to this regional mapping area. It will include transit routes, where are the bus stops, whatever. So it's, you know, our local trail system, probably not state park, national park, but what are the trails on our local areas, all of the locally owned land. So that's regional mapping. It will take place in a shape file, so it's not something that we're going to print a map and distribute it to the public. It's a tool that we will use to inform additional regional transportation planning projects, including our regional transportation plan. In the long run, we should have something very functional. Okay.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
If you need a motion, I would move that you direct staff to prepare a complete overall work program document.
Okay, we do have a motion on the table,
Second.
and we do have a second. Public comment, please. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board. Please poll.
Commissioner Keim?
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore?
Yes.
Commissioner Hemmington?
Yes.
Policy Advisor Kevin Tucker?
Yes.
And Chair Howard.
Yes. All right. Let's move forward with discussion item F. We'll start with US Highway 189 and Elk Valley Crossroad. I know there's some new information on this, Tamara.
Yeah, we do have new information on this. I didn't bring the detailed sheets. I must have just left them on my desk. But I can also distribute them to you after the meeting. We're working with a consultant team for the Elk Valley Crossroad Corridor Plan. I hear you, Chris. I feel the same way. With the Elk Valley Crossroad Corridor Plan, and that Crossroad Corridor Plan takes a look at the safety concerns at all the intersections, of course, including 199 intersection with Elk Valley Crossroad and 101, and just that entire length. But this has been a standing item on our agenda, and I thought this would be a good time to bring this up. So the consultant team is Ducken Engineering with, in partnership with LSC Transportation Consultants. They do good work. They took a look at the 10-year average collisions at this location and came up with a number that is quite different from what Caltrans has provided to us in the past. They believe that the difference in the number is, and right now they're coming up with something like 8 times the national average, not the 1.5 to 2 times the national average that Caltrans has come up with. We do need to have some sort of a reconciliation of those numbers. How can we have such a different outcome? With a number that is as large as 8 times the statewide average, if we can move forward with those numbers, we should be able to find a solution to that area really promptly, compared to the no progress that we've made in a very frustrating way for a very long time. So I don't have a lot of information yet because this planning process is still in process. So we'll have more information coming back from David Morgan. I know that David and the consultant team are talking together on this, because I do think that we're going to need to answer public questions to, if it's 8 times the statewide average, why have we been told that it's significantly less than that? Or maybe the 8 times the statewide average is calculated in a way that's so different. My understanding is the difference is taking a 10-year look rather than a shorter duration look. But taking a 10-year look still averages out over 10 years rather than 3 years. So I have a lot of questions about that, and I want to let all of you know that, all of our eyes are on this. David Morgan is, collaboratively working with our team to see where we are in coming up with some additional information here. This whole project will be completed by the end of June. That's our contract end date, and I expect probably more likely at the end of May. So we're not, there's no delay in this coming up. We are taking a look at a tentative second public meeting at the end of this month for this corridor. I don't have a date solid for that yet. We're working with the Sunset High School and having it similar to the last public meeting in the community where the project is, which is really the best way to hold a public meeting for an area such as this. So again, we're working through this, but I don't want to sit on the information like it's a secret. There's nothing that we do that's a secret in my office. So as I know more and have, all parties at the table and agreeing to, wherever we land, I'll continue to provide information to the commission and to the public about this.
Well, I appreciate you reporting that out, Tamara. We should all be quite concerned by the initial figures that are coming back from our consultants. Obviously, we've locally recognized the problem. To have hard data on it now makes a big difference. I believe we should get traction, as you suggested, and hopefully we'll find great communication with our partners, Dan and Eureka, to move this along a little bit more in a hurried pace, given that the data is fairly compelling at this point in time.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, so the consultant has provided the information to Caltrans, and we are currently reviewing the information and hope to provide a written response soon. Just from some of the internal discussions, I can say that the process that Caltrans goes through, we look at data for 3 to 5 years, and there's reasons that I can't go into why they use the 3 to 5 year methodology to calculate statewide averages for similar facilities. But if you look at this particular location, it's difficult to use a 10-year time frame because we've made a lot of improvements at the intersection during that 10-year time frame, so you can't really use 10 years of data when you've made changes because it changes the facility, and so that's something that has to be taken into consideration. And some of the information that the consultant provided, I'm not sure if they were able to go into the field, but some of it looked like it was based on Google Maps data, which is from 2012, and so there has been some changes since 2012 that you are not able to see when you're driving it in Google Maps. So those are just some of the things that need to be considered.
Comments are well taken and appreciated. Okay, let's talk about last chance grade, if there's any updates there.
I don't have any updates at Last Chance Grade at this
Carrie?
time. I did receive, yeah. Yeah, I don't have any updates in addition to, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll just, I have a few notes from Jamie Mattioli, the project manager. Since this is the first meeting since December, I wanted to mention that the $31 million project-specific contract has been executed. That occurred on 12/26 of 2019 with Prime Consultant HNTB and a group of many sub-consultants. The consultant team will take on all of the technical work to get through the environmental phase of the project. They bring together all the disciplines needed to get the job done, including tunnel experts, environmental scientists, and geotechnical experts. And as was mentioned, the stakeholder meeting is tomorrow.
Thank you for that update. All right, staff services
You know,
contract.
There's also, by the way, a very cool video that they've posted on the Last Chance Grade website. If you haven't seen it, I thought it was clever, informative, interesting. I just thought it was very engaging given the topic at hand. So if somebody wants to know something about Last Chance Grade and is coming into it pretty new, or you just want to take a look at the effort Caltrans did for innovative public information, take a look at that video. I thought they did a really good job with it.
Thank you. Staff services contract.
I did let Black, Rice, and Luna know that my staff services contract expires at the end of this work program year, the end of June. And so they're working on that. I just wanted to bring it to your attention so it didn't sneak up on you. I've let them know on a couple of occasions, but I keep letting them know at intervals. And but it's the obligation of the council to pick this up and move it forward and ensure that you have staff in place when you need that. I do plan on applying for my position again, but we still need to go through this consultant selection process. It's a mandate. And so just an update on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and move on with item number 7, which is commissioner reports and comments. Blake? Okay. Heidi? Tucker? I'm just going to mention one thing at this time, not to elongate the meeting any. Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority has been looking at areas to do a northern transfer station. Several of the properties that were identified early on by a consultant include areas off of Timber Boulevard. And if you recall, Timber Boulevard was one of these areas that has had lots of near misses and collisions here in the last couple of years. In particular, has picked up with the entrance of Dollar General. If that site turns out to be selected, I'd like the Transportation Commission to work with the local Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority to see if there's any improvements that will be needed along with Caltrans to see if we could make that intersection a little safer.
Do you know what the timing is on this?
We would like to have some reconciliation of a site selected by the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. And I can contact Ted?
Please.
Okay, I'll give
Yep.
him a call.
Okay, very good. Since there's no other commissioner comments, we'll go ahead on item number 8, action on recommendation of the Policy Advisory Committee.
Move to approve.
We do have a motion on the table. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. Can you please pull the vote?
Commissioner Hemmingson.
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore.
Yes.
Commissioner Kine.
Yes.
Chair Howard.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Our next meeting will be March 3rd, 2020 at 3 p.m. See you. We could hear you, Darren, okay.
Just something I wanted to bring to the commission's attention. A few years back, we had a string of accidents and fatalities at milepost 10.5 on 199.
Yep.
I believe it was Mr. Tucker's idea to apply high-friction surface treatment to that area. And to my knowledge, I don't know that we've had another accident there, much less a fatality. Over the past few months, I want to be clear that I'm not speaking on behalf of the fire department here, but as a responder up there on Highway 101 at approximately milepost 16, that's right about Damnation Creek Trail, we've had multiple fatalities up there. And I would like for the commission to maybe ask our Caltrans partners if we could maybe look at high friction surface treatment for that area of roadway. It seems as if when travelers are coming uphill, heading this way, that they hit that 2-lane part of the road right there that is also coupled with a curve, and they lose control on that curve. And we've had some very major accidents up there. So that's all I wanted to do, is bring that to your attention if it was not already on your radar. But yes, I think there should be some action taken for that small stretch of road. Thank you.
Just to clarify, when you're saying going uphill, driving south?
Driving north.
Okay,
On the sweep before Damnation
If-
Creek
Okay.
Trailhead.
Yes.
Okay.
The sweep right before the trail.
Okay,
And
thank
they
you.
end up wrecking on the east side of the road, right at the trailhead there.
okay.
So thank you for your time. I appreciate you opening up the comment period again.
Appreciate it, Mr. Short.
Have a great.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.